Good afternoon. My name is George Avrassoglou, and the inquiry question that I considered was, how do people take power away from others? For my inquiry project, I decided I'd raise awareness through a speech. I'll be talking about how literature conveys power being taken away from people and how higher ruling bodies participate in manipulation and corruption. I also plan on providing some real-world examples. Throughout the literary world, many examples can be encountered where corruption and manipulation are evident. To name a few, George Orwell's 1984, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, John Grisham's The Firm, and Shakespeare's Hamlet all feature societies in which its citizens have ability taken away from each other one way or another. All provide us with instances of propaganda, technology, conditioning, and false hope in which people are able to take power away from others. And what is the result, you may ask? A loss of human qualities that often is a result of a higher authority, such as a government. Keep in mind, however, that it is not always a greater force that takes power away. We can leave the first slide. Similar to any totalitarian government, the ruling governing body in 1984, known as the Party, uses propaganda to instill fear into its citizens. The streets of London can be found decorated with large posters of their supposed leader, Big Brother, with the caption, "Big Brother's watching you." This serves as only one of the examples of propaganda evident in the Orwellian classic. Such propaganda can only scare the citizens into adhering to the party's wishes. In Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, the world state's motto is community, identity, stability. This serves as a completely different role than the party's motto. The party's motto attempts to instill fear into its people, while the world states preaches stability within the lives of its people as a means to control them. Basically, the world state makes sure its citizens are constantly happy and satisfied to such an extent that they do not care about their personal freedoms. Although John Grisham's The Firm differs greatly from these two novels, a form of propaganda is still evident throughout the book. Mitchell Y. McDear, fresh out of Harvard Law, falls into the clutches of a small firm, Bendini, Lambert, and Locke. The consumer society evident in the novel clouds Mitch's ability to think. The allure of a large salary, a new BMW, and a beautiful new home are too much for Mitch, and he does not hesitate to accept the job offer. Therefore, it can be said that a consumer society is a modern-day propaganda scheme administered by large companies who want to reel you in. In Hamlet, the people of Denmark end up taking power away from their king. Claudius realizes that he is unable to do away with Hamlet, for he is revered and beloved by his people. Thus, King Claudius's own court manages to take power away from him. This is best exemplified by Claudius's quote, "Yet must we not put the strong law on him, he's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment but in their eyes." If Claudius imposed the strong law, frenzy would occur amongst his people. This example emphasizes my earlier point that it is possible for ordinary people to take power away from a ruling body. Going back to Huxley's novel, Brave New World, this story includes a character known as the Savage, whose main purpose in the novel is to oppose the world state. Also known as John, the Savage views the world through the lens of Shakespeare. Shakespeare is known for his plays that include comedy, tragedy, passion, and many more human qualities. Ironically, these are the same qualities that the world state seeks to quash. Nevertheless, John the Savage does not fall into the clutches of the world state. Nothing he experiences changes his core beliefs, and the world state ends up deserting him on an island full of savages like him. Therefore, not everyone can truly be manipulated into losing his power or beliefs. To recap, we just learned some methods in which common citizens have their power suppressed by larger ruling bodies. We also learned that people have the ability to take power away from higher authority. We even learned that certain individuals exist that simply cannot be stripped of their aptitude. We have discussed these methods and how they apply to literary works. Now let's see how they affect us and those around us in the world today. As most of you know, today in China, the internet's censored. At least 18,000 websites are blocked from the Chinese server. Words and phrases such as police brutality, democracy, freedom of speech, Taiwan independence, and Tiananmen Square protests of 1989 have all been blocked, as well as websites related to these topics. It is evident that the Chinese government has taken power and rights away from its people through the use of technology. Another nation restricting its citizens of rights is Russia. Websites throughout the country that receive at least 3,000 regular visitors a day have to register with the government as mass media. Thus, they are eligible for government censorship. On another note, Russians seem to have lost their right to protest. Last year, hundreds of Russian citizens involved in peaceful protests following the Sochi Olympics and occupation of Crimea, were arrested. One can now receive up to 15 years in prison for mass rioting. Talk about a basic human right lost, the right to assemble and protest. Now, our great nation, the United States of America, has always been nicknamed the land of the free. But does our country deserve to retain that nickname? Since 2011, our president has the power to order warrantless surveillance. This includes the ability to force organizations to turn over citizens' finances, communications, and associations. The government does not need probable cause anymore to search everything from business documents to library records. Probable cause is a basic right encountered in our Constitution under the Fourth Amendment. What is our nation without one of its most basic humanitarian rights? Nations such as Saudi Arabia and Pakistan are known to operate under similar laws that allow the government to engage in widespread discretionary surveillance. At this point, you may be wondering how this information pertains to you. Simply having an awareness of these issues can lead to acting consciously instead of reacting to people and events in the future. Novels such as 1984, Brave New World, The Firm, and Hamlet all warn us of the dangers of manipulation and corruption in higher authority, as do events that occur in some of the biggest nations in our country, in our world today. It is important to understand that we as humans have not reached our full potential in terms of power and individual human rights. We still have a long way to go. Thanks for listening and have a nice day.